now talking about one of our biggest political headlines of the week, redistricting. We've been talking about it. It's ongoing. Joining us now, USA Today Washington Bureau Chief Susan Page and former Republican Congresswoman from Virginia, Barbara Comstock. Susan, as 8 states roll out their new maps, you write this morning, quote, "The repercussions, both immediate and far-reaching, are likely to bolster Republican prospects in the midterms, weaken the political middle, reduce minority representation in Congress, and intensify the nation's polarization." Is this redistricting going to be enough to offset the midterm storm that we had been predicting for Republicans when they were facing such dismal polling on the war in Iran, those high gas prices?
You know, Ariel, it provides Republicans with a little bit of a buffer. They're now up maybe 8 seats look more favorable to them than Democrats, a net of 8. And that's not maybe enough that certainly is not enough to ensure Republican control of the House, but it makes it a little easier for them to hold on and perhaps to limit Democrats to the kind of narrow margin that Democrats had hoped for a bigger sweep.
Barbara, a legal setback is foiling the Virginia Democrats' plan to win back the seats that Republicans had picked up in other redistricting fights elsewhere. Now the New York Times is reporting that Democrats had privately weighed extreme measures in Virginia, even replacing the state Supreme Court judges by slashing the mandatory retirement age from 75 to 54. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't know about that happening, but I think, they tried to get the 4 seats. I think they will very much have probably 2 seats, even without redistricting. Because listen, Republicans are tied to an unpopular president who's underwater on every major issue, cost of living, economics, even immigration. And Republicans are in a bubble where they refuse to, they just ignore that. And these redistricting battles that Republicans have largely done are based on 2024 numbers where they expect to be doing well with Hispanics and even some black voters. And that has been erased. And this racial gerrymandering that you're now seeing in the South, I think is going to backfire on them and have a large turnout for African-American voters. And we've already seen in Virginia and other states in the special elections that there's been a large turnout with Hispanic voters voting against Republicans and going back to voting for Democrats. So these districts, particularly like in Texas and other places where they think they're going to pick up Republican seats, I think they've actually endangered more Republican seats, but they're kind of oblivious to it because they've just lashed themselves to Trump.
Are you surprised, Congresswoman, about what the Supreme Court did in your state?
I actually hadn't followed the legal aspects of it that closely, but I do think this redistricting war is overall, at the end of the day, going to be bad for Republicans. And let me give you an example. In a bad year for Republicans, the issue set is bad for Republicans because when the economy is bad, the tariffs, raising taxes, that's what tariffs are. That's bad. The economy's bad. When you've lashed yourself to an unpopular president, you're not going to do well. So changing your district means you have new voters who don't know you, and they are just placid thinking, oh, I'm in a Republican district. Well, in Virginia in 2018, Dave Bratt, who had a safe Republican district at 57.5% that he had won it in 2016, he lost to Abigail Spanberger, our current governor. Everyone said there was no way he could lose. He lost by 2 points because he thought he had that safe seat. He never saw it coming. And there was a great Democratic candidate who came in and beat him. And I think you're going to see a lot of those going on because Republicans just think when they're at that 57, 58, they can't lose. And in a bad year, when you have and in 2018, the economy was pretty good. The economy is not going well for those, when you have $5 gas coming at you, that is not what you want to be running on if you're a Republican and you've supported this president.
Okay, Susan, close us out. Where does redistricting go next?
It's going to keep going. We've got 3 more southern states looking to redistrict even before these midterms. And look out for next year. We're going to see red and blue states redistrict as this war continues.
All right, Susan Page, Congresswoman Barbara Comstock, thank you.